past the speed limit sign that shows that I'm speeding. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are test driving a 2024 BMW X3 sDrive30i. This is the entry-level X3, 2-liter turbo engine, rear-wheel drive, 248 horsepower, 258 torque, 8-speed automatical transmission. And I have to admit that maybe you could say I'm biased against this car. Let's just say I don't hold a particularly high opinion in general of like a base model BMW X3 because I've been in the car business for a very long time. I have even worked in the new car sales department of a BMW dealer a few years back. And to me, and to people who know what's up and are smart to the car business, this is what we would call service loaner spec, because this is exactly the kind of car that would be made into a service loaner at a BMW dealership. However, that does not mean that it isn't fantastic to drive, because it is. This is the first time that I've really spent some good time with this generation of X3, and the car is athletic, the engine is responsive, the chassis is fantastic. The transmission, the ZF8HP, is still one of, if not the best automatic transmissions you can get, and in the more recent BMW products that I've driven with it, they've seemed to have quickened up the shift somehow. I don't know if they've updated the torque converter or what, but it almost feels like a dual clutch. It really is a fantastic car to drive, and I'm surprised by how much I like it. I'm surprised by how good it is. I'm surprised by the fact that it might even be better to drive almost than an equivalent new 3 Series. I've driven several of the newer 3 Series models, and I have a theory that manufacturers try harder sometimes with SUVs these days because they've become so popular and they make so much money on them. And maybe to BMW, even BMW maybe now tries harder with the sport utility wagons than with the sedans. I'm sure they make more profit on the X3s than they do on the 3 Series because the price is higher, and I refuse to believe that it really costs them that much more to build one of these than it does a 3 Series sedan. And the car just feels great to drive. Just great. Gotta hand it to them. Ultimate driving machine, if you want to call it that. It is what it is. And they make an M version of this with the full fat engine out of an M3. You can get it with up to 503 horsepower. That must be comical to drive. I've driven the newest version of the M3, and that is a fantastic car as well. So BMW making a little bit of a comeback. I sold them new from 2015 to 2017, and at the time they'd kind of gone all soft. The cars were nice cars, but they were definitely trending more towards the luxury side of the car business than the sporting side. And I sort of made the determination at that time that everyone in the car business wanted to be BMW except for BMW. But BMW's getting back into the sportiness. Matter of fact, let's put it in sport mode. Doesn't do a whole lot, honestly. Tightens up the steering slightly, and a little bit more throttle response, but not a huge difference from comfort to sport mode. I've been driving this car for about 3 days, and I've just been loving it. Just been loving it. This is why now I get it. I see so many of them around Southern California, because this car is just as common as it could be around here. You're on a freeway in Orange County or LA County, you're pretty much just as likely to see an X3 as you are to see a Corolla, especially depending on the neighborhood. There's certain neighborhoods you're far more likely to see the X3. Oh, it just corners so nice. And very refined, not a whole lot of wind noise or tire noise to speak of. This has the entry-level 19-inch Y-spoke design wheels. It's an X-line car. It's got the convenience package and I think the driver assistance gives you the fancier backup cameras and kind of parking assist, and those are pretty much the only major options it's got. It's literally service loaner spec. But man, it's got to be one of the nicest service loaners you could be put into. Except, you know, BMW stores will always have a few 7 Series and 8 Series in service loaner status for their high-end clients. Service loaners are a big part of BMW business. Crevier BMW, for those who aren't familiar, is a BMW dealer in Santa Ana. And for years and years and years, since Penske bought them out, 2011, 2012, Penske Auto Group bought them, and they were #1 in the Western US, and after Penske bought them, they decided to make them #1 in the country, in the United States. And the way they do that was they just wait until the last day or two of the month and figure out how many service loaners they needed to report as sold. And they just, you know, in one day they'd report 50, 60, 70 cars as sold to BMW, but they didn't really sell them. They just, what we call punched in the car business. They just punched them and put them in service loaner status. So, you know, technically it's reported as sold, but they just transferred that inventory from the new car department to the service department to be used as service loaners for 6 months. And then they get taken out of service loaner status and they certify them, and then they transfer them over to the used car side and sell them as used cars. So manufacturers love it because it makes them look bigger than they are, because if you think about it, you can essentially get 2 sales out of 1 unit in 1 year. Because, you know, let's say it's February, you punch it as a service loaner, you wait until August, you take it out of loaner status, you certify it, and then you sell it in September, October as a certified car. Well, when you report your end of the year sales, you report 1 sale of a new car for that particular unit, and then 1 sale as a certified pre-owned for that same unit. So it's something that the European automakers specifically, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi's not so much into it. Maybe they are a little bit more now because they've become a little bit bigger of a player and they have more inventory these days than they used to. When I was selling Jags, oh, it was a constant. I sold Jaguars before they ever had any SUVs. So a good month, like, I literally sold 3 Jaguars 1 month. It was a Jaguar Land Rover store, 3 new ones. And the general manager thought it might have been a record for... Nobody had ever sold, no single salesperson had ever sold 3 new Jaguars before. But half of the cars on our lot had already been reported sold, because Jaguar they wouldn't even bother with service loaners. They just come up with these weird jiggity jack, like, okay, this is gonna be a live drive demo program. So you just report the car sold, and then they'd give you some extra money. So it's like, okay, that counted as a sale. Here's $3 grand, since you can't use certain new car programs on it, but we'll let you use these new car programs, and the warranty clock has started running. And so you always had to keep in mind what inventory you were dealing with. It's like, all right, well, I can make you a better deal on this one, but the warranty clock has been running for 4 months, so the warranty's a little bit shorter, but I can sell it to you for a lower price. It was a mess, but that was how they dealt with that. Anyway, that's a lot of insider baseball. Let's get back to the test drive. Oh my goodness. Well, it picks up speed okay. This Prius in front of me, who has been a willing dance partner, and I appreciate that, decided he wanted to pass too. At the top end, passing wise, you don't have a ton of power, but it has enough power to get up to normal legal speeds on the freeway, and around town it's fine. And I did do a fuel economy test on this 4-cylinder engine in this car, well, in the whole car really, but on the engine, and it did beat its EPA rating pretty easily. So You can get a 6-cylinder version of this. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone unless they seriously had a heavy foot, because you don't need it. The 4-cylinder sounds great, works great, is great, and it's cheaper to buy, probably cheaper to insure, and cheaper to fuel in the long run. So the M40i or even the X3M, I'd rather have an M3 than an X3M. Because at that point, the lower center of gravity does make a difference, but just a great car to drive. Great little SUV, fantastic. If you're looking for a compact luxury SUV, at least give the X3 a look, because there's a reason why you see so many of them. And with all that being said, I'm about done here. I appreciate you watching my video and listening to me ramble on about Punch service loaners and the joys and perils of selling Jaguars 10 years ago. If you liked my video, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and remember to always drive safely. Bye-bye.